We are live. No, no, we are not. No, we are. We are live. We are live, folks. So we gotta play rapid games. Rapid games. 10-0. Yesterday we were in Lead Chess. Today we are on chess.com. It's probably gonna be a short stream though, but it's better than no stream. Better than no stream. I mean, I might be practicing certain opening today, but with white pieces if I'm able to get it. So we are going with g6, same old stuff. d5, d5, supposedly here. f6. We want to take on e5. And if knight takes, knight f6. That's the idea. Maybe even pawn takes. So the knight f6 is not playable. He took with the bishop, which is actually kind of interesting. So it's still the same moves, same ideas, same everything. Supposedly here. Knight d7 is probably the idea. He could castle. There's bishop g4. There's knight d2. It's probably bishop g4, but I do have to be careful about e6 being weakness. I mean, he could claim like bishop g4, h3, and he knight takes, maybe even knight g5, knight e6, and then who's in trouble? It's gonna be black. So I need to keep an eye on e6 square. So maybe just here. So if he takes, it's okay. We are doing well. He castles. So if I take, knight takes, knight d7, it's possibility. Hey, greetings. Welcome back. I guess knight d7. I don't have to worry about knight g5 because I still have the bishop on c8. So we could take, there's actually pawn takes. Maybe still here, knight d7. He went with the knight moves, which is actually interesting. So supposedly he is f4. Some kind of f4. Should I worry about this move? I could take pawn takes. This should be 6 even. We're gonna do it. Probably here a knight f3 makes sense. Maybe even knight f3. I could still take on e5. You played f4, yeah. I predicted that move. So I still could take though. I could still take f takes. I mean, pawn takes is not the greatest. Queen b6. And then maybe b2 is hanging. Queen b6 is shack, right? Shack king h1, queen takes b2, and then it's just a pawn. Rook b1 is queen takes c3. And b7 is protected by the bishop on c8, and d3 will be hanging. Should I take on c3 with the queen? So he's not going to make this mistake. He took with the right way. So this bishop e6 is a way to develop the bishop, but then we might be back to like knight f3 stuff. And knight g5. But maybe after here we could just we change the plans. Bishop g4 again. Pinning. The bishop g4 plan is to just the pin at the right time. You may not worry about e6 being a weakness in this line. There's also rook takes. There's plenty of moves. Alright, we're gonna go with bishop e6. I mean, I suppose he could take on f8. It's gonna be boring, but it's competitive. Knight f3. Okay, so bishop g4 is possible, which is funny. It may feel like I lost the move, but I'm not. Because technically I want to trade on f3. It may be a draw because opposite call bishops, but maybe white would be slightly better because it's more like the bishop is active on d3 as opposed to the bishop on g7. I mean, his plan is possibly here. I could still consider a move like this. Here, bishop f5 takes, queen takes f5. This move is playable. I'm assuming it's h3. So you don't get to play knight bishop g4, and he may still play knight g5. But then bishop f5 is still there. Right? If I were to play queen d7, it's more like I'm hanging on to, you know, the bishop pair. When should the bishop change that? You mean bishop h6, perhaps? Yeah, I mean, it could stay there for a while. It could go to bishop h6. It is true that this move is playable. But then it's like queen e2, and this bishop is not going anywhere. I mean, it could stay there for a while. Maybe in some lines c5 is playable. You could still... But there are some lines where you could play bishop h6. It's possible, even here. But we're gonna go with this one. I mean, bishop h6 is still a plan. I'm assuming it's maybe h3, but it's not gonna change the outcome like bishop f5. The outcome of the original plan, right? So bishop f5. All right, so queen d2 is basically disallowing bishop h6. Maybe that's a good idea, though. It looks like it's a good idea. So bishop f5. I mean, that's fine. Knight g5 is not really a good move now because bishop h6, he may put himself in a pin. If he takes here, it's possibly rook takes. There's also queen takes, to be honest. Knight g5. Here, knight g5, because my queen would be under attack on the f5, f square. So he played rook f2. This is where bishop h6 may be played. I mean, I could even do it now, but I guess the problem is here, knight g5. h7 is going to be rough to defend. But you could do bishop h6 in a different order, like bishop takes first, and then queen takes, bishop h6. And that's where the bishop maybe, you know, we may claim a little bit of diagonal activity. Since now e7, e5 is blocking its way, like bishop is not active on g7. So we could do this. Queen takes, of course. So then here, possibly it does diagonal. I mean, it's not doing anything right now, but it's just, I'm looking for the future. Looking beyond the future. So maybe it's rook f5, rook, bring the other rook in. Yeah. It's queen f5 as well. It's queen f5, but I'm putting myself in a pin. Is it really necessary? Some kind of a pin later. I mean, this is like offer a trade of queens, so it's not a big issue for black. I mean, maybe I could even go here and go back. Should I go, you know, should I proceed that way? Because I don't think he's going to trade queens. Like queen f5, maybe even queen d1. Actually, queen d1, bishop e3. So it's queen e2. So it's queen f5, queen e2. And then maybe start threatening, like, you know, moving his knight somewhere. So he could attack the queen on f5. We can still make the move, though. Could still go for it. I mean, I'm going to pre-move it. I don't think he's going to take. I think it's queen e2 should be the move. You don't want to trade queens like that. It's kind of like helping black a little bit. Helping black because, you know, he did take it, but I'm not sure it's a good move. Maybe it's knight h4 he's counting for. I don't have time for bishop e3 because he could take on f5 with the knight first. Rook e2, he's stopping this one. So we could double in. I mean, that's knight h4 is not playable. Rook takes, free rook. E6. Maybe e6 is necessary because if he may play like e6 himself in some line. I mean, maybe he could get his knight to e5 and knight d7. I was able to visualize this in the long term. So e6, maybe it's a weak pawn if he's ever, you know, it's not a attackable pawn. Like it could be like some kind of knight g5 later, but, you know, e6 is protected, I suppose. But the point of e6 is so he doesn't play e6 himself and get his knight at a better situation, like knight e5, right? So that's the goal. That's an ultimate goal. So he played b3. Problem is going to be the time, of course. Okay, so it's like a waiting move. Waiting move. C4? Or maybe C4 is gambling a little bit, and the rook E4, and D4 is hanging in some line because of bishop E3 check. I mean, C5 is a big move. Maybe I just need to prepare it, like C5. Now, this is actually what I meant before. Like, if the bishop on G7, it doesn't matter if the bishop on H6 or G7. Now I could compete on the center, like C5, right? I mean, typically you need to do it early in the modern defense, but you could still do it in the endgame, right? I mean, if you're given the chance to compete on the center, you just do it. So C5, not sure why he's doing this move, but I guess he didn't feel comfortable to pin. So now... Okay, I could actually take. Knight take is it's not possible. Rook takes, so his pawn takes. I mean, this pawn could be an issue. So maybe now I could play here. Rook C2. Supposedly Rook C2. So maybe if I trade and I'm trying to take control over the open file, but it's not, yeah, he's not giving me any room. He's not giving me any room here. I mean, I may offer draw, but I don't think he's gonna take it. He declined it. He declined the draw. All right, so here, so I'm stopping knight G5 still, because that's what I meant by E6 being weakness. It could be weakness, but right now it's okay. All right, bishop E7. It feels like it's a draw now. Should be. So E6 is not attackable now. I mean, it's okay. Where is this move? What is this move? A5. Now I'm trying to win. A5. So if he takes, bishop takes check. It's tactics. I mean, in the games, even tactics exist. He wants a draw now. Why? He offered me a draw now after the blunder. Takes. King E2. Actually, king takes is possible. He wants to play knight F6. How big of a deal is this move? So I could allow it. Then the bishop is actually, let's see. He takes, his knight is trapped, it goes back to F6, so it's not really trapped. The real question if I could win, like, around here. Oh, yeah, I missed H5, though. Do I have to take? That's not... We'll try this. Oh, maybe this is not... I mean, he may actually take the pawn, yeah. All right, here. Ooh. What a game, though. So I could take this next. And those ending games are tricky, though, because, you know, you could be down a piece and you could still win, right? The problem is, so for white, if these two pawns drops, he might be in trouble. But he takes E6, so he might be on time. Yeah, so he has a draw, I think. G7. Okay, he's not taking a draw, which is crazy. He might regret this move, but we'll see. Maybe he could still draw. He had to play G7, though, I think. He's looking at the time, though. I mean, honestly, he's looking for the time, but In a position like this, I have plenty of time. I mean, this is only limited pawns. And you have to be careful because I may play d3 here. It's still draw, I suppose, but I mean, bishop f8. You cannot move the bishop on e3 because that's g7, right? That's g7 right on the spot. So it still draws in. I mean, that still draws. Maybe not on time to win. Give it a try though. Still draw, I think. Draw. Draw. All right. Did I have anything here? Yeah, that's a draw. Actually, king e5. Yeah. I actually knew that I had something here, and I could not believe it myself. Yeah, king e5 was a big move. It's not here. It's king e5. I could see why king e5 is completely winning, because the knight is kind of trapped. It's trapped. It cannot come back on time. The real issue is what you play knight e8, then you play e3 here, d3. You cannot stop those pawns. I mean, you could go, this is actually the... But I was looking at the clock. My mindset is like a draw, but... So I think the draw is around here. To be fair, this is a draw anyway. Like, it's around here. I mean, the draw is g7. Oh, actually, g7 is still winning. That's crazy. Knight c5? Because g7 is not winning, which is funny. I felt like it was a draw, but it turns out to be that's still the same issue. I mean, that's the winning move, right? The king e5 in the other line. Yeah, you cannot stop boss pawns in this line, but it's knight c5, a3, king b3. That's easy. So the knight would be in charge of taking the d pawn, and the king would be in charge of like grabbing a3. Still easy draw though. Yeah, but I was winning here. Yeah, so the winning move is this king b4. So by the time he goes here, it's king c4, knight f6, king takes d4, knight takes here, and then king takes e5. That's actually very easy win. Knight f6, that's okay, and then you play king f5, king f5. Yeah, that's, the pawns are not going anywhere. h5 is irrelevant. I have two street pass pawns, so could have been should have been a win game. But sometimes you look at the time and you just basically you not necessarily go deep enough with the moves when your time is limited. All right, so there's an opening that I'm trying to practice. Hopefully my opponent plays c5. He's not. So we're gonna go with knight e3. Okay, we could play f4. We could play f4. Hopefully I remember the line. It's funny that it tells me it's Vienna Gambit. I'm not sure if this may transpose to the King's Gambit after pawn takes. I might be wrong, but I remember this being still a King's Gambit. And it's like a... I mean, I think you do have to take, and then it becomes a King's Gambit. We'll see. I mean, normally I don't play f4 here. I typically play bishop c4, which is still Vienna. I mean, bishop c4 is probably the Vienna. You don't transpose, because this could transpose easily. I mean, you could actually play a Scotch in the right situation. Knight f3, some kind of d4. It depends on the move order. I mean, maybe it's a Vienna here. I'm just waiting for him to take the pawn, and he's not taking the pawn. So bishop g4 is actually the idea. I mean, that's... All right, we're gonna take here. If you don't take the pawn, I'm gonna take the pawn myself. So this like pawn takes. I mean, knight takes is possible as well, but I mean, I'm assuming it's pawn takes. Bishop g7. have an eye on knight d4. Bishop c4. I mean, is bishop g4 here? h3 takes. I mean, I don't normally play this. Maybe there's a couple of options for black to do, but I think bishop g7 is more like the accurate way of playing. Or bishop g4. I mean, you know, you don't play g6, so you could play like bishop d6. You're just preparing to play bishop g7. I mean, it would, and also knight d4 is not the best move. I could even do this. Knight takes. Queen h4 is g3. f7 might be hanging. I mean, the good thing about white's setup here is if I'm able to get the rook open file, like against f7. I mean, that's one of the reasons I play bishop c4. If white gets a situation where he plays d3 castles, there's potential attack against black's king. I remember playing this maybe a long time ago. I mean, I'm trying to go with memory. Like, I may have played this, of course. I played a lot of games, but this one is not common. That I don't always get to play it. I remember something very weird. Like, this setup reminds me of like a game maybe like 20 years ago. Like, my opponent played like a6. If I'm trying to remember if it's the same exact setup. And I was like, a6. And yeah, I remember g6 was there, and I was expecting bishop g7. And a6 was, and he was destroyed after, because there was a big attack after d3. Eventually, he was trying to play a6, so he played b5, trying to, you know, kick my bishop out of c4. So he played bishop c5, but I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this move. I could see what he's trying to do. He's stopping me from castling, but you don't play g6, so you could play bishop c5. I mean, that's one common thing. There might be some weaknesses around here, those squares. I mean, he's depending heavily on bishop g4, and somehow I may not castle. Maybe just h3 comes to mind. I mean, if that's the case, maybe I just play here so he doesn't get to play bishop g4. And then preparing d3, you could even play queen e2. And if anything, I could castle long, or there's a potential castling along here. If I play d3 right now, maybe it's bishop g4, justifying all his plans. Some kind of knight d4 after. We'll play it safe. So we disallowing bishop g4. He can still play knight d4, maybe. I mean, now if he take here, maybe it's queen h4. I should worry about this move because g3 just takes. So maybe here is just d3, and we would like to see him to take. I mean, I would like to see knight takes f3 because this opens up for the attack, like queen over, and then queen h4 is not big issue because g3 is always there. You know, with the help of the queen, I could play g3, but the issue is going to be f7. Like queen gets to f3, the bishop on c4. You're really attacking f7. And there's maybe some funny line where you don't castle, but you could still play rook f1, right? You could still, and assuming that white castles long, so you can still attack. And then you wonder if the weakness is really heavy, right? Because of bishop c5. This move is also very weird. Knight f6. I mean, his moves are, you know, I mean, if you're committed to play bishop c5, then you have to, like, you know, try to make developing moves. But this move is not really, like, threatening. Maybe he wants to play knight h5. I have d3 now. I mean, maybe bishop g5 is a huge pin, but he may play h6. We may have to proceed with our plan. Knight g5 is just castles. Maybe just d3. So I'm lining up for the bishop, right? So now I get the two bishops out, perhaps. One is already out on c4. The other one is coming in. h6. Stopping here makes sense. Makes a lot of sense here to me. There's maybe some tricky knight a5. You know, maybe once, but there's always knight takes e5. Now that the knight gets to f6, the one drawback for black He doesn't have queen h4. You know, so this means knight a5 is just maybe takes. In some line, maybe queen d4 is still happening. This maybe mate. But what if I play queen e2? And so knight a5 is just knight takes c5. It's a free pawn. He doesn't have queen d4 because I could just go back knight f3. There's no mate on f2. And also the knight is blocking the way, so there's no queen h4. So this makes me think that queen e2 is probably... It does have some purpose that, you know, it disallowing this kind of stuff. The reason of knight e5 in general, it's you want to grab the bishop on c4. You want to exchange it for... Because it seems to be attacking f7, right? So black maybe benefit trying to... The benefit for black is maybe this trade is good, but he may not have it. Assuming it's knight a5, knight takes c5, knight takes c4, knight takes c4. And it's just a free pawn, right? And he's not going to give a free pawn like this, especially when it's center pawn. And the only concern I have with queen e2 is maybe knight h5. Maybe this is a big move. Because knight h5 is knight g3. So maybe this is... The knight is jumping on g3 and it's not really... It's not part of the plan. I actually feel like g4 is also very interesting. G4 is stopping knight h5, and also maybe you want to play queen e2 with the idea that I don't have to worry about knight h5 in this line. I mean, assuming that I'm gonna castle queenside, you could launch an attack, right? I mean, it's not necessarily an attack on g4; it's more like stopping knight h5. Because queen e2, knight h5, g4 is not playable. It's just knight g3. That's actually the issue. If you go for this sack, I don't think it works. You always need to worry about this kind of stuff. We'll give it a try. All right, I mean, maybe it's possible. And some kind of queen f6. So the idea is very simple. It's just queen e2, the next move. Let's say he plays bishop d7. The idea is just queen e2, and then, you know, some kind of bishop move, and you really want to pile up the pieces on rook f1. So now you want to attack on f6. This is actually the idea, like the f file. And since there's still weakness, even if he's solving one of them, and by the way, there's like some bishop takes h6 was possible, like after g4, maybe made possible after g5. I mean, this is right now is not necessary to do this, but it's something to keep an eye on. So he played queen e7. g5 is just knight h5 again, so we just stick with the plan, queen e2. The reason I paused a little bit because I actually was considering knight d5. Could it be the move? But, you know, you just need to develop pieces, you know, like I cannot just simply strike on the center. But bishop e6 is actually, it's just the one move that he could do. That feels like it's a good move. Supposedly, this is actually the best move. Because the bishop is pretty strong on c4. But again, I don't have to take on e6. Again, meaning that, you know, there's a strong way of playing this position. Like, let's say, I may have to consider bishop d2. The idea if he takes, I have an extra control over d5, the d5 square. And even though knight d4 is kind of interesting, but it's still the same plan that the f file could still be an issue. I mean, bishop e3 is another move. Just gonna go with this one. So we don't lose on time. I mean, just pre-move this just in case he takes. I mean, I'm preparing to castle long anyway, so castling long, we both are. So this still rook f1 ideas is still up there. Still, like, it could still be annoying. So rook f1 is still interesting. Because eventually white could even take on e6 in the right moment, right? And f7 could still be an issue. Bishop d4. Oh, maybe he wants to play knight a5. All right, fast enough? Okay. The idea is still here, not changing the plan anytime soon. The problem with these games, though, that they start with 10 minutes, and then it turns out to be like it's a bull game or blitz game. Like right now, you assume this is like almost like 5 minute kind of game, and we're still in the middle game. So eventually, it's time scramble could happen. I mean, unless I'm playing somebody who's low rated, much lower. I mean, he's still a low rated player, but he still could keep up a fight. I mean, let's say if I'm playing with 1700, so the game would likely end faster without, depending on the time so much. But since I'm still close, I mean, I'm 24, give or take 23, 24 in rapid games, and I mostly play like 2300s in rapid. So the games are really end up decided like sometime in the game, and even the clock bullet game. Unfortunately, that's part of the issue. So a6, I don't understand this move though. It's more like a waiting move. May as well do a waiting move myself. So I'm waiting for him for a plan. Is it b5? That's actually what he wants to do. Not sure. May as well pre-move. He's waiting for me. All right, go here. So it's a waiting move again. Now maybe I could start thinking that maybe bishop e3. I just need to find a way just to like double up the rook. I cannot do it on rook f2 right now because bishop takes f2. So maybe I could consider a move like this. I just didn't feel like when I do bishop e3 that this potential like take on c4 and knight d4 in some line. I mean, knight d4 could happen anyways. But I've just figured that if he takes, this is more... I mean, he's copying the moves, which is funny though. Alright, bishop e3. Maybe d9, d4. His aim, yeah. That's his aim. Again, so we are back to like attacking on the f file. So instead of doing with the two rooks on the f file, it's now with the queen and the rook. So that's the reason of why queen f2. I'm threatening knight takes and queen takes f6. I mean, knight here, knight here. There must be some action on here. Some kind of grab on b3. But here we go. It's 2 minutes each. I mean, that's gonna be like blitz. Blitz games. I keep saying I play rapid, and then it turns out to be like I'm playing like still blitz. So he took here. I'm assuming his knight takes. Bishop takes. Let's try this. Yeah, but this bishop takes here. It's also queen takes. Oh, it's pawn takes. All right, let's do this. Pawn takes, yeah. So I have knight e2, knight e5, queen takes f6. Since I don't want to give him bishop, like opposite call bishops, which give him some kind of like easy potential good drawing chances, so I'm keeping some pieces on. Again, this is all about like the attacking on f7. The website gives an option for adding time to his opponent. Maybe that's... Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still rated games. My opponent would not give me one. I don't know if in chess.com are you able to do it. I actually never done it before, even though I played like a lot of games. I know in lead chess you could do it. Okay, so rook d6. Yeah, I may have missed that. May have missed this move because now I'm down a pawn technically. Down a pawn, but it's still like balanced. It's not like I'm lost. It's far from losing. I mean, do I have to play this? Alright, let's do this. Fighting the clock. F6. Oh, over here. Opposite color bishop stuff. I mean, it's probably still draw somehow, but the clock, you never know. I mean, this is still past pawn. I'm just down a pawn. Stopping d3 ever coming in. I mean, this move is met by rook here. Okay, now here, that's queen d6. Push a pawn. You have a pass pawn, you push it. Want to watch out those potential mates. Have some room with the king, so there's no back rank issues. Yeah, this is actually might be way too dangerous somehow. Pass pawn is still pass pawn. Okay. Is it here? He wants to draw. C4. Oh, that's great though. This is not easy actually. Okay, b4. b4. It's me b4 actually. This is actually mate, isn't it? It's mate. It's mate. He had to go back, but then it's still difficult. I actually feel like this is way too difficult for him to hold. Yeah, this is like +2. Can you briefly explain why you choose not to take on b6? b6, all right, we could go back. b6. I'm trying to find the move. Really, I think I know what you mean. I'm just looking over the computer while we're looking at it. Yeah, this is actually a draw. There's no way of... It tells me there's no way of winning this. It's funny that around here, I miss queen g6, but it's still, like, I don't think this is winning for me. I mean, the idea is, like, you keep attacking the pawns in a certain way that may be hard to defend this one, right? I mean, the computer wants you to play here, and then you take. I feel like this is still draw, by the way. I mean, now it tells me it's like a draw. All right, b6. Let's see. Good game. Oh, b6 here, yeah. Yeah, I think I would be down. Like, I think I looked at bishop takes f3 around here. I feel, yeah, I should have took on b6. Yeah, I actually thought this one, bishop b7. I missed this move. Because if you, if I were to play, I mean, this is winning, yeah, knight d1. Yeah, I missed this move completely. No, if you took here, it's winning now. If you took on b6, this is completely winning. I'd be up a piece here. This one is, I know, but I felt like, yeah, I felt like the bishop would not come back. I forgot that. I mean, even here, it's winning. By the way, like, I could even go bishop c. I mean, bishop c5 is actually the key move. I mean, if you go bishop e3, it's not the same. I mean, it's still winning, by the way, but like still here. Yeah, that's I did look at it briefly, but I figured that I did not have bishop c5. I didn't look deep enough on it, but it should, you know, it should be easy way to. I mean, bishop c5 is obvious. Yeah, but here actually, so this means he has to take with a pawn. Yeah, so here he had to take with a pawn, which makes a lot of sense. It's funny that he has to take with a pawn, and I'm actually not doing great in this line. Because when you take here, I mean, this pawn takes, and then obviously queen g3, and it just tells me h5. Now, this position it's like really insane. And then you take, I mean, this is actually not that great of position for me. This maybe still draw somehow, but it's just maybe black have some activity going on because of the king situation. I mean, you don't, if you take like here, for example, like he's actually a lot better because of the weakness around my king. So it's funny that I had to, in this situation here, I had to play queen g2. So when I play queen f2, it's not the computer suggestion because it feels like bishop takes here is pretty good for him. And then once you go here, it's here, of course. So queen g2 is just you get out of the fire here, so he doesn't have bishop takes g4, knight takes g4. And actually white is still good here because assuming I'm still attacking here indirectly. So let's say play knight d7 and then knight a4. And let's say bishop e7. Then maybe this is actually kind of a tricky move though. Queen g1, potentially c3, and there's a check on e7. That's actually some tricky stuff here. Good game though, good game. I mean, it's full of opportunities. Liver King. Yeah, that's a problem now. I'm above 2400. Good luck finding games. I mean, it's you sit there for a while and you just can't find anybody. And I'm actually doing like 2200s. Like, I mean, it's also getting late though. Maybe that's part of the issue. It's late in the New York time, Eastern time. But there's still people from California could still play. Still 3 hours difference. The higher you are in rapid games, the less opponents you might find. There's somebody that I saw that he was 2550 or something, and he couldn't find games, so he had to play like 2300s. And there was a gap between the rating, but we tried to do the best we can to find games, assuming we also have legitimate players playing. Because the higher you get, also the potential people cheating is also skyrocket. I played when I first started streaming. Yeah, that guy's fine. When I first started streaming, it was like a year ago, and I was playing somebody who had like a 2550 rating. I remember that guy because it looked like really obvious case for me. So bishop g7. This is modern defense that I always play. So this guy who happens to be 2500, his bullet rating was 1200 and his blitz rating was 1500. The funny part is he was never caught. Like, I played him a couple times, like 5 games in my stream intentionally to see like, and I was playing really well. Like I was trying to prove a point that maybe, I mean, I was trying to see if he's really strong. He was playing like very bad openings, like intentionally play bad in the opening, and then you see something very weird in the middle game, especially in the ending game. He was like a beast. And eventually I lost all the games. I mean, I lost all 5 games and I was like, how? even though I was trying. So I play d5. If he takes, pawn takes. If he goes with e5, I play f6. We still compete on the center in this line. It's a Caro and modern defense kind of system. It's combined together if you think about it. As a matter of fact, here it tells me it's a Caro. Here it's way back to the modern defense. So eventually I reported him, and he was playing for a while. Like, this guy was actually like had an old account. It wasn't somebody who like recently joined. And it happened during my first couple of months streaming, and I was like, how he was never caught, I reported him like 2 times. Eventually, within a week time, he was banned. But he was like 25-50, and his blitz rating doesn't even make sense. And he was playing blitz games actively. It's not like he played that blitz game like 20 years ago. But sometimes you walk towards this kind of people, and what can you do unless you afford them? So he played f4. This is actually typical. I do play knight h6. You could, and I always tell people when you play pawns like this, like you extend your pawns like that, it usually gives a weakness around the squares. Like you could see that this is potential grab or potential jump with the knight, not grab. There's also pawn takes, and I can still play knight h6. Sometimes taking is best because you open up more lines. Let's say he takes this way, knight h6, and then you castle, you have the open file with the rook. There's also take here is possible, though, and then you can still play knight h6. We could possibly take, and then knight h6. And if he takes here, bishop takes, that's actually good for black. This is going to be like bishop pair, and this diagonal would be huge. Like, this is going to be huge here and huge here, should he take. But he might do like queen d2. But the knight d2 is knight g4. Possible. Knight f5 even. Yeah, it is boring. I mean, it is boring, but it does happen, though. I mean, I played almost like 100,000 games in chess.com. I'm marching into like 100,000 games. But I played a lot more over the years, ever since like 2000, maybe even 1999, during the dial-up. You guys probably remember the dial-up back then. I used to play when we had this, couple sites back then. People sometimes use assistants anywhere, like it could be in blitz games, even bullet games, believe it or not. But it does happen a lot in rapid games. Like, you guys remember Yahoo Chess, for example? Like, it was around where people would have like this gigantic rating. I still remember it. I used to play there. I used to play in different sites. So people would just cheat when they have more time. Unfortunately, that's easier for them. But it just doesn't make sense. It's not like, eventually they get banned sooner or later. And I don't see the idea whether you do it in 1-minute chess or do you do it in cash tournaments even. It just doesn't make sense to me. But there's always those bad actors anyway. And what can you do unless you just ban them, find a way and make it harder for them to have an account. So knight f3 is also part of the plan here. So the knight could still come here. There's knight g4. So knight g4, bishop g1 is maybe the idea. Bishop h6 is also very possible. Maybe I want to get my knight on that knight a3. This line could be really fun. There's also castles. There's also bishop g4. There's like plenty of stuff here. Bishop g4, bishop e2. The reason I say bishop g1, you could also play bishop d2, but this feels like a little bit off. It almost feels like you putting your bishop backwards. Bishop g1, so the bishop is not harassed anywhere by the knight. And then maybe he could play like... I mean, queen d2 is kind of scary, though, because bishop h6 is possible. So that's a reason why maybe even bishop d2 is playable. I mean, I may just play like castles here. It's just maybe easier. Because I feel like knight g4, bishop g1, bishop h6, queen e2. It's possible, but then and then some kind of h3. So I may be driven back, and then he may just play like g4. That's my concern. All right, we're gonna castle. Let's see what queen d2 is still playable. Knight g4 in this line. Or knight f5. He plays here. All right, I'm gonna go with this one. He castled here, so I could play knight f5, so getting my knight in better square. I mean, usually the spin is annoying in some lines in this opening, in the modern defense. I mean, assuming bishop here, but then if bishop f2, this is where things are getting really interesting, because bishop takes. This is actually what I mean by annoying. Queen takes, knight takes d4. You're getting hit by the rook is attacking the queen, right? So that's it's one of the reasons why it's annoying. Sometimes people would just play like queen e2, like I don't want to deal with this. Like you take on e3, I don't care. You know, it is very possible that queen e2 is a move. And let's say if you take, you don't have to worry about anything from white's perspective, assuming that bishop pair, take your bishop pair and leave. But if you want to hang on to the bishop, right, you might get smoked. Even though the bishop f2 is defending d4, it doesn't matter because the bishop takes. But then you could take with the pawn, but then your king is weakened. I mean, you could argue that pawn takes still possible, but then the king is a little bit weak. And then if there's a potential that you play e6 and take some serious control over h4. Bishop d2 is interesting, but again, bishop d2 walks into knight takes d4, which again, this whole thing is really not fun from white's perspective. This maybe bishop takes f5. I mean, he's probably thinking about all these insane ideas. He's probably not very happy, like, to see knight f5 here. Maybe bishop takes. Makes sense. He played here, but I'm assuming he's going to take with the pawn. And maybe that's his idea. There's also black may slow play this. Like, you may not be... You could play knight d7. The only worry about knight d7 is bishop e2, so maybe this pin is not as strong anymore. And now I have to react and take on f3, and then the bishop gets to f3. You no longer have an issue from white's perspective. But here it's pawn takes. Supposedly that should be good. I don't think queen takes. Oh, queen takes. Ooh. Ambitious move. I mean, knight takes d4. The problem is I'm taking a central pawn. It's not like any pawn, and e5 is under fire as well. I mean, I don't know. Unless he's trying some tricks here, I'm trying to figure out, is it queen g4? I just go back to f5. Queen h3. Because the rook is attacking the queen. And that's actually the biggest issue. It's both pieces now attack the queen. I mean, maybe here? I mean, it just feels like this is not the right move. The right move, like, take here. So I was assuming that pawn takes was the best. And even before that, it's just like queen e2. Give up the bishop pair, but you don't lose a pawn. He played queen g4, but I mean, this move is not... I mean, he's attacking now, but I could just go back here and e6. e5 is also hanging. So if he takes here, rook takes. I mean, black is really fine here. I took a central pawn and I leave. Okay, e5 is hanging. He wants to play h5. He wants to play h5. Could even do this. The idea is, so I develop, I attack. This kind of moves are difficult in chess. You know, if you make a move, you develop and you make a strong, like you're attacking. So it's like a multitasking kind of moves. It's always good in chess. So knight e7 is not just like you develop a knight. You actually develop a knight, you want to attack on e5. You're also stopping h5, technically, because h5 is knight takes e5. I mean, this feels like the knight invasion is happening. Yeah, I mean, the knight also gonna attack the queen, so things are really difficult here. I mean, he's trying to compensate for that pawn, nothing else. If you were to take bishop takes here, which he might, you know, this rook takes and h5 is not relevant, and then e5 is, it's an issue. I mean, if something were to happen like this, e6, still like the position is difficult. So the rook gets to a better square on f5, right? So you know, when you win a pawn, or you always need to think about what's next. You know, I could create some damage. I did this move. You know, what's next to improve my position, right? So he played rook e1, but I could still take. I'm assuming he could do something like this. I don't think I'm missing anything. I suppose he's gonna sack and hope for the best. And h5, yeah. I'm assuming some bishop move. So you want to take on f5. So I need to defend g6 because if this were to happen, that maybe it's a sign of trouble. Defending this one, so if he takes, that's okay. We are defending it. I'm assuming some bishop move though, so he could line up with the bishop and the rook attacking f5. I mean, I'm not sure where the bishop is going to move, because now any bishop move could be a big issue. There's knight e3, there's bishop d4 in some line, and it's just getting more difficult. But I don't blame him here. I mean, he could try to sack and hope for the best. What else does he have? But again, bishop takes here, it's the same story. Rook takes, h5 pawn is not going anywhere. So typically when your opponent is like sacking and he's trying to, it requires you to just do a little bit of defense, right? I mean, material-wise, black is ahead, but all black needs to do is defend. So sometimes all you need to do in chess, like, you just defend. You know, you look over what your opponent's trying to do, you stop one by one. So right now, bishop here makes sense. Bishop takes f5 is actually the idea, nothing else. So you just defend move by move. E6 walks into bishop takes here, and he may claim that I'm actually, you know, I'm back, right? He may claim that he's back. This actually e6 may still be possible, like bishop takes f8, there's knight e3. Then I could take the rook and f1. I mean, I'm not sure how strong this move is. There's also bishop d6. Because now if he takes here, I take with the bishop. So that should be winning for black. Possible. e6. Well, you just played safe. Actually, queen here. It's here. Problem is going to be time, of course. All right, we're going to play e6. He's going to do this. I mean, there's maybe some trick here. Knight e3, queen g5. And he's attacking the bishop, though. I'm actually not liking this. I mean, may have to take back here, bishop d4. I mean, now that I'm still counting on the pawns, I mean, I'm counting on check here. And then if you would, let's say he takes here, bishop check. And then if here is maybe queen h6. It should be winning by black. Should be still be winning. Check. No help here. No help with the moves. Still ready game though. Still ready game here. I mean, he has to play here, I suppose. I mean, he could still block with the queen. H6. He could block with the queen. I could take back on G6 and claim that I have enough pawns. So technically, I give back the exchange just so I could like trade down. Is he really looking at this? I mean, what else is he looking at? All right, check. He has to block with the queen. I mean, I don't need to like look for more. I mean, maybe this bishop e5 that could be really scary looking. King g1. You want to play it safe. You just take pawn takes. I mean, I'm still ahead here. That should be enough for a win. Oh wait, he could take here. Maybe let's do this first. Attack the rook. Rook f6 is met by this. King g7. I just have to move fast. I mean, I don't have time. Knight e2. Bishop b6. Wait, do I have rook h8? Yeah, now I'm setting up rook h8. Now I'm setting up a trap. He maybe wants to take the knight, but he has to watch out. The rook h8 is actually the biggest issue. Who's trapping who? I'm actually trapping him, not him trapping me. Let's see. I mean, this is actually knight g2. At the very least, knight g2. We won here. I mean, I feel like there must be mate here. There must be some kind of mate here, actually. Oh, it's just knight g2? Oh, the computer just feels like it tells me knight g2 is just knight g2. Yeah, so this is all lost. This bishop e5. Yeah, I knew that bishop e5 is the best move. But, I don't want to complicate the game. I just don't want to complicate the game. And I mean, technically you can still take here and it's possibly the same thing. But the bishop gets to a better square on d4. I mean, that's the idea by the computer where your bishop gets on e5 right away instead of on being d4. So it's like the bishop has more squares, knight e2, and then you don't have to worry about... Black is rock solid here, and I'm just having two pawns. All right, one last game. Should be the last game coming in. So sometimes, as I mentioned, yeah, I mean, you up material, you just defend. Sometimes defending in chess is key. If you could generate some kind of attack, you attack, right? Just like the very end was my opponent, bishop e5. I'm just not defending. I'm now shifting toward an attack. But sometimes positions require some precision, meaning that sometimes all you have to do is defending. You don't attack. I say that because sometimes people they have this style, they feel like you do have to attack all the time. I used to have a friend that his style is more like attacking only. He would struggle in a position where it seems to be positional because he just launched an attack out of nowhere. That's not the way to play the game. The game sometimes requires you to play precise moves. You don't attack all the time. And sometimes you could sacrifice to get some positional advantage, not even tactical. So what makes chess really complicated is actually when to decide what to do. It's like the experience you have over time playing over, let's say 20 years. when to attack, what not to, when you have an advantage, how you could maximize your advantage and try to win. So we have a game here. This guy is lagging. We'll see. The lag is heavy. I mean, it's not any kind of lag. I don't know if he's here. But... give him some time, but I don't feel like I should be winning on time here. I mean, we'll see. Rematch? He's not even there. Okay. He's not even there. Yeah, I know, right? You give me black 2 in a row. And this guy is also lagging. That's funny. E4. C5. Do C5. 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 C6. Why C6? 92. D5. E5. Now, should he play C5? I play B4. Which is actually a wing gambit. This is something that I've been playing. He's also bishop f5, by the way, bishop g4, so he doesn't have to play c5. The reason I say c5 is actually the best move. You want to try to take control over the center, right? He plays bishop f5, which is fine, but it's fine. Knight g3, we get a tempo, bishop g6. f4, e6. d4. It's a Caro, but it's a different type of line in the Caro. He didn't play c5. Okay. He wants to play knight f5. c5. I mean, c5, maybe it's even take. And now I'm taking charge over the center. f5. I'm supposed this is actually the idea. Queen h4. All right. Do queen h4. So queen h4, maybe bishop takes, castles. I mean, I feel like the queen is out of play on h4, to be honest. That's the reason why I did the move. I mean, I know I'm giving up the bishop here, but I feel like my attack eventually, I may play f5 somehow. So I take... I mean, pawn takes would be laughable, so it's castles. Knight takes his idea. Bishop g4 is possible. But then the issue here that I'm having with black, you do have to be careful about the queen side. Like, maybe a queen b3 move could be annoying. I mean, it may allow, like, b6, and it just feels like black maybe is concentrating on... I mean, he played bishop g4, but which is really aggravating this move. Allowing this queen b3. May as well do it. It's a tempo. I mean, we're attacking here. And maybe f5. f5 is possible. I just have a problem with this queen. The queen is not really doing any kind of an attack here. It just feels like it's sitting on h4. So white has some strong center. I mean, you typically here, to be honest, you don't play like this. I think here... you do play c5. That's a typical way of Caro. So c3, you could even take 6, knight c6. You try to get some play. You compete on the center as much as possible. So if f5, I suppose he may even take. Knight takes this queen e1 here, which is maybe that's what he's counting for. Rook f1. So f5 is the way to open up some the f file. f5 takes. Queen e1, rook e1. Rook f1. Let's do it. There's also opening up for the bishop. You could see this diagonal is opening up too, which more scope for the bishop. It's funny that even here, I may not necessarily take, even though he has g6 next. Wow, okay, so he's playing here. He's walking into trouble here. I mean, I could even take... Oh, bishop takes? Bishop takes. f6 is also possible. But this is actually a really ambitious move, though. I mean, nevertheless. Nevertheless, is actually not many people make a move like this. I mean, he's counting on here and bishop takes. Because he cannot really consider pawn takes. That would open up for the rook, and then he may not castle easily. He's counting on bishop takes. But actually, knight f5 is still there. If that's the case, knight f5. Takes, queen e1, rook f1 again. Keeping an eye on the f7. Bishop takes. I mean, I'll be surprised if he does pawn takes. That would be surprising. The only issue for white is I'm not developed fast enough. I mean, I may just need to consider knight d2. Knight d2, knight f3, maybe. I mean, I have knight f5, but I may consider knight d2. Because I'm not fully developed yet. I'm just playing with queen and knight. I'm assuming here it's g6, which may be weakening up some squares. So that's ketos for me anyway. Like, maybe this is good for me anyway. He may try to get spicy with h5. Okay, we'll do this. That's fine. We'll go with this one. I mean, I'm pretty sure knight f5 was the move. But we go with knight d2. So I always tell people, like, just because you have the two bishops doesn't always mean that you would have an advantage. Any strong player, if you ask somebody who, would you need to have, is it good to have the bishop pair? The real question is, it depends on the position. Like, if the position asks for two bishops, then yes. I mean, it's typical two bishops control two diagonals. I mean, it's common sense, right? But sometimes I play positions where it does ask for a knight. Like, it depends on which opening you're playing, and sometimes the position would only need a knight. Like, let's say this bishop is sitting on g5, right? And let's say you have a knight on d6. That's a better knight than the bishops, right? And if you reach knight d6, it's threatening all these squares, right? So sometimes it does depend. The right answer is depending on the game, how the game is going, and is it open position, closed position. That would require which piece to play with. So that's actually the right answer to. If I mean, I always tell this to students, but sometimes they tell me, "Oh, it's two bishops." I just did this move because of two bishops, but the position is too closed. Like sometimes the position is too close, and then my student would be like confused, like what happened, and apparently, like it comes down to like knowing what the position is asking you to do, right? So he plays bishop g4, and I'm not buying this move. Like, he wasted tempo, like he went back and forth. I'm not sure why he's doing this. His knight f3. Knight f3 is a big move, because now if he takes his rook takes... So knight f3, I don't think he could move his queen, which is funny. He's obligated to take. Perhaps. So rook takes... don't be surprised if pawn takes is great as well, because maybe f4, f5, the pawn could storm. But rook takes, we'll go in with rook takes. It's also here, it doesn't work. g4, we'll go in here. I mean, pawn takes is not an incredibly bad move. It's playable. But rook is maybe better because he's just eyeing f7, knight f5 still there. The bishop now could move. You get the other rook to f1. So when you take with the pawn, you don't, doubling up the rooks is not that great. Doubling up, you know, on this f2, f1, if you're blocking with the pawn at f3, doesn't make too much sense. His position is really strong now from White's perspective. It's hard to say which move he could do. Knight d7, maybe. I mean, knight d7, perhaps, if I could make the move, or if I could make the error. So he's moving. So if you notice what I mean, he moved his queen on h4. So this is not a wasted move, but bishop g4 was a wasted move, and also feels like queen g4 was not necessary. He hasn't castled yet. Yeah, that's a good question. He didn't. No, he did not. I wonder if knight f5, and if he castles, we have knight h6. I mean, I'm gonna give it a try. You always want to castle, right? I mean, if you castle, there's also knight takes, by the way. So that's... yeah, you cannot castle now. It's knight takes e7. Yeah, position maybe it's like white is already like have an advantage. Maybe even like d6. I actually was more comfortable around bishop e3, to be honest. If he were to castle, I could play knight f5, and then I may have rook g, you know, some kind of knight h6 check, and then rook g3. I may still be able to do it, assuming knight d7, bishop e3. It's tough what to do, right? I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if he went back, but then he's not playing active chess, you know. It's more like passive. Yeah. Maybe here is helping him out, though. Maybe here is helping him out, and then he castles. Why should I help him out? You should never help your opponent out. Make it as hard as possible. Now, the real question is bishop e3 or bishop d2? I mean, which one is more precise? Bishop e3, maybe it's locking. The e1 file, should I go knight d6 later? So maybe the bishop on d2 is better. If I ever need to go with the rook on e1. That's my logic. We'll go here. You might go for g6, yeah. It's g6. Now, the real question is the queen is almost trapped to me. Like, the queen is trappy here. Queen h5. g4 would be trapped. h3, queen h5, g4. I may just have to move fast because losing on time is... it's a very strong possibility here. I mean, I don't think he's going to play this, g4. He's going to play here, but we're gaining all the tempos we want in the world. And it feels like the queen is trapped to me. Wow, this feels like the queen is trapped. Because now you cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here. This is what happens when you play passive. You're not castled early on. You played quick h4, queen h4, which is okay, but you didn't follow up correctly. You play passively, and you know white has a gain in developing here, so he took it. That's a big issue, of course. I mean, I was considering knight d6, but he takes. We could allow him to take on here, which the pawn will be. The pawn will be weak. So now I could go after the weakness. And I'm just up here. I mean, technically, you know, I feel like he may not have enough material, but we'll see. Like, the computer may be justifying. It's hard to believe this is actually a position that he could hold. King is sitting on e8. So the queen doesn't belong on b3 anymore. I mean, he just shifted to attack. He may check on g8. Big deal here, but I mean, possibly the best idea is then I guess to e6. Maybe that's a goal that he could try to achieve. I could take here. He might castle, but I think this castle is like completely crappy because now rook g1. The king is in crisis mode here, I think. I mean, you may have to worry about mates. Mates are coming. Mates are possibilities here. I was actually considering rook takes, to be honest. I mean, maybe rook takes was best. As a matter of fact. '86. I'm not playing this precisely, but it's fine. King H1. It probably doesn't matter. In a position like this, it doesn't matter. They both are the same. Sometimes it does matter, but not in a position like this. It just feels like it wouldn't matter much. So rook g8 though, it's... I mean, you can't take, of course. Rook g8. I mean, rook g8 as a stake, it should be winning. It's a huge pin, though. Huge pin. Maybe rook takes? It doesn't matter, I don't think. This is all, like, lost. Feels like it's lost to me. F5. Rook g8. He didn't do rook g8. He didn't do rook g8. That's funny. Some knight and rook versus queen is, you know, it is possible that you could hold in certain positions, but not in this one. This one is easy to win. As a matter of fact, like check here, things are getting really close to win. Like the pawn that could be promoted. You could check. Yeah, it's just e7. I mean, here it's a try. Then I think it's here, and then here. E8. I mean, that should be it. You could check. Rook c2, I just go back. Just getting out of the knight way, but it doesn't matter, I don't think. And, but, you know, this feels like it's, I mean, I was looking for mate, but I was looking for check here, but knight g8. I just take. I mean, it's a little bit surprising that he's playing on, but it's okay. He's gonna take though, but... Queen takes and this queen f8, so, I mean, this is just simply winning. Simply winning. Queen f8, checkmate. Checkmate. There's a lot of ways of winning this one. It's not like one way. I mean, just to give you a... This is +6. You know, +6 already. +7 here. You know, there's like tons of way of winning. It's not just one way. I mean, I actually didn't play it precisely. To be honest, I did not play it really precisely, but it may not matter much. Yeah, +6. I think that, you know, the real suspense in this position is actually what happened here. This is actually the position. Yeah, good game, good game. So I feel like the position is around here. Like, it's funny, I'm not gonna go over the remaining of the game because they already lost. Like, there's no way out. So even here, I think the right way is to play is c5. So the computer even, you know, feels like this is the right way. So you play c3, for example. Actually, white could play like bishop b5, knight c6, and then some kind of f5. Things are really getting interesting. E takes and c3. Still playable game. Black still is fine here. Black is fine. However, there's also knight h6 here, I guess. But I feel like c5 is critical. Is he competing on the center? So knight e7 is still fine, but I think after c3, I think the computer is leaning heavily toward h5. I understand why. He wants to play like h4. So let's say you play here. You could play h4 and then some kind of knight f5 takes, and then bishop takes f5. This feels like it's solid enough for black. I mean, let's say bishop e3, you know, bishop e7, bishop f2 or something, and it feels like it's equal. You could see that, you know, in a position like this, some squares, it's controlled by the bishop, black bishop. I mean, from black's perspective. However, when he did it the other way around, because when he played here and he played knight f5, the computer actually likes bishop d3, and I understand. I mean, I felt like bishop d3 was strong. You don't want to do knight takes here because this actually walks into what he wants. I mean, this is still good for white, but it's not like the one it's not like bishop d3. So let's say the computer wants you to play bishop e3, and let's say, you know, queen b6. I mean, this feels like maybe it's still like black is okay. The computer feels like it's still equal here, which I think it is. Bishop d3 is the real test. I suppose this is actually the real move. So the idea is actually what black should have done is here. And then I suppose bishop takes d3, queen takes. I still like white here, because now you look over this position like here. White is dominant on the center. In the end, the opponent got made in the count. Yeah. You could look over this position like white is controlling the center pretty nice. There's an open file. There's always a break on f5. Like maybe g4, f5 if I have to. Let's say here, I mean, the computer is all over this position. I mean, I missed rook takes h7. I mean, let's say you play... I mean, what the heck he's going to do here? Like c5? Yeah, c5. I mean, it's all about the break on c5, right? Somehow. And this is actually a computer line a3. And it just feels like white is completely dominant here. Because the setter is so strong. And then eventually you have this kind of stuff, and h7 is hanging in some line. So a3 is being justified, maybe even b4 in some line. But what he did, though, queen h4, the reason this move is not that great because of bishop takes, which his computer liked it as well. Bishop takes and castles. The queen is on h4, doesn't do anything. It's just out of play completely here, and white pieces are going to be fluid by knight f3 kind of stuff. And then eventually your queen is going to get out of the... Yeah, eventually you have to play queen d8. I mean, I think that the black best play here is going back to d8, which it feels like it's just a wasted move going to h4, right? So bishop g4 is actually a crazy move, I think, because it allows queen b3, and let's just gain a tempo here. I mean, let's say he plays bishop e7. You're getting hit by queen takes. The rook is hanging. Yeah, so here's +1, and I'm actually surprised it's only +1. I actually felt like here is like +2. So the computer wants me to play slow chess, and I actually did like bishop e3 in this. I mean, I was leaning toward bishop e3 or f5, so I think bishop e3 is like really like a solid move, and then you could launch. You could play knight d2 or f5. You could play like that. It also likes c4. I mean, that's how strong this position is. I mean, now you could also take on d5, creating some issues. The reason this move is pretty good, if you take, for example, that weaken up c6, and white's still like dominant. c6 is weak pawn. If you don't take, let's say, play bishop e7, you could take on d5, and then that's... If here, then b5 is weak, and this you could actually play on this side of the board. I mean, even the computer doesn't like this at all. So it doesn't like f5 by me because it wants him to take, and I think that was the only way. And white is still maintained the advantage. And I looked at this line. I mean, I looked at this, and so I'm kind of checking. Went back. So I felt like this line was good for me because eventually he goes back to h4, which or even queen e2. But then you could see that the black is just doesn't have enough developing here, and then f7 is really weak. So you could play knight d2. Let's say bishop e7, knight f3, castles, and rook f2. I'm getting all the tempos I need here, and it just feels like bishop g5 takes. And you can see that I might be going to f1. h6 does not really save the game. There's always tricks like that. Queen g6 and then knight e3. This is all about pressuring f7. It's equivalent to like one of the games. Was it the game before, f7? It's all about the f7 attack. Here is actually +2, funny enough. So his moves are limited here. I mean, there's nothing he could really do. Yeah, bishop e7 is just completely pawn takes is like okay, one of the moves, c4. And now knight d2. He had to like castle, like yeah, castling here makes a lot of sense. But again, I actually dislike this position for black, knight f3 and queen g4. And then let's say I was leaning heavily toward bishop e3. But then c5. It's just a game now. I mean, maybe it's a game, but white has a better game. But once he played here, bishop g4 is. I always tell people, do not waste tempos. The bishop was already on g4 here. Why would you play bishop e6 and go back to g4? The bishop was already on g4. So if you went back to g4, doing what exactly? I'm not going to knight f5. So the computer really likes knight f3. It's simply it's +4 here, and it's the reason it being is white has so active squares. The queen on h4 is going to be harassed. It's funny that bishop f8 was the only move in a position like this, and then bishop d2. White is going to be leading developing here, and again we are back to the same issues that f7 is weak. So let's say he plays knight d7, knight f5, queen g4, queen e4 even. The game is completely... You cannot play b5 here. I think it's queen e6. Something like here. And now, in just in a couple of moves, white is just maintaining an advantage because of the huge develop on the pieces, right? The black queen is really being harassed with the pieces. I actually feel like the queen belongs somewhere in d7, d8. It does not belong on h4. So yeah, after here, this position is completely lost. I mean, I said I would not go over it, but just briefly here, it's simply lost. Queen takes f3 was the only move. Anyways, that would be it for me. This is actually not an opening mistake or anything like that. It's just like an activity, like which way to play. You giving up an initiative early on, right? That's one good example that sometimes if you carry the initiative after bishop d3, white is already in control. I think it was you, Red, right, that you told me about the initiative. This is a good example where initiative wins. It could lead to winning game. This is one of them. Specifically bishop d3. I mean, it also it wants me to play knight takes f5, but this is not the same as initiative for me. It was like bishop d3. I mean, maybe in high depth, it would say bishop d3 is maybe the toughest move. I'm guessing. I'm still in disagreement with the computer. It just gives me 3 moves. Queen b3 is one of. I think it gives me this as a top move, and it gives me queen b3 is a top move, but that attacks b7, right? So. And bishop d3. So it's leaning heavily toward these moves. And they all really looking good for white. So that's one good example where initiative could just win the game. But again, it depends on the audience. It depends on your skill. If your tactics is weak, then initiative not going to do anything. It does help me, though. It does help stronger players having an advantage on developing or initiative, or gaining at tempos in a series of tempos. This is actually what I call like a huge tempo, like queen b3. That's a huge one. Because that you made then a developing move, you attack, forcing your opponent to defend, then you have a free pass, like an additional move. And as a matter of fact, like here, it's white is just simply like in control. Like black is on the other side, it's just defending, right? That's one. Bishop g4 is like, to me, I feel like bishop g4 is actually where things are lost. I mean, the computer is just skyrocket after bishop g4. It's like +1 here. It's 0.5 and then +1, right? Because you lost a huge tempo here, and sometimes losing a tempo is just could be enough to win a game. Initiative or losing tempos are big stuff in chess, you know. All right, folks, we're gonna end it here. I'm gonna be back. You're welcome, Red. I'll be back tomorrow with more games. The timing is very difficult. It could be early afternoon, late afternoon. So we'll see about early stream maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Sometimes I stream twice, one in Lead Chess and one in chess.com. So we might be back to that, doing 2 streams a day. That being said, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it's always next day. That's the goal. And all games on YouTube is going to be like rapid. They're not going to be Blitz or anything. Blitz is on Twitch and bullet games as well. Puzzle Rush as well. So Puzzle Rush, bullet games, Blitz games on Twitch. YouTube is going to be only rapid. All right, there's also maybe some video on demand on YouTube that could be Blitz games. So depending, if I have something to explain, I could have a Blitz game. All right, folks, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow, perhaps. Hopefully you guys enjoy this content and learn something from that. This is learning experience, entertaining at the same time. It should be fun. All right, I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody. Good night. Good night, everybody.